Hello, welcome to Ethereal Epiphany. This is a channel where I talk about all the things, talk about my life. I turn my thoughts into writing pieces and vice versa. So it's Thursday. It's approximately, I think I saw last 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and try to get outside while it's still a little bit of sunlight. The sun is going down right now. Maybe I'll show you guys. It's actually quite beautiful. Thankfully, I tried to get out during the golden hour, but couldn't make it out. The civil twilight, the sun goes down starting at 4:30, and there's some civil twilight until 5:03. So I have some time to do this video. Let me show you the sunset now. Wow, it still looks beautiful before it really goes down. Oh, it's going so quickly. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can show you guys something. One second. I realize I have to actually put the camera up. Oh, by the way, yeah. The cattails. Cattails? Yeah, they're dead. It's so funny how much you can see when everything dies out. Like the horizon, much better. And yeah, it's so beautiful today. Look at that. It's so beautiful. What is really, I'm not going to be at this place much longer, but what I try to do is like enjoy it as much as I can. So I like that now that, not that I like that everything's dead now, but I like that I can finally see the shoreline. By the way, did you know, I always thought that shorelines applied to, here, I'll show you the sunset while, did I say sunrise earlier? I meant sunset. I'll show you the sunset while I'm talking. Yeah, so I always thought that shorelines applied to beaches, but I had no clue that shorelines apply to lakes as well. A while ago, I was doing research about the eagle that used to come by, and it actually used to get fish from here, over there as well. And I didn't know what to call this area here between the edge of the land and where it's still, a bit of water. So was it here or I think over the other side of the lake where I think I researched that? But either way, I researched what is, because I kept calling it the edge of the lake, the edge of the lake. And then I looked it up and it's actually called the shoreline. Shorelines don't only apply to beaches, they apply, yeah, to lakes as well. For some reason, my back camera's fogging up, so you can't really. I feel like my camera's not really capturing the sunset very well. On the camera, it looks all orange, but in person, it's fiery red at the bottom, then it's orange, and then it's purple, pink a little bit at the top. I love when the sunset does that. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to show you this because I didn't get to show you guys the other day. And I guess I can get into the video. This one's probably going to be short. Just want to do a small follow up to the other day. Yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, so I'm back. And yeah, first of all, my asthma's bothering me. Guess because, excuse me, because of a cold. Like wheezing. But in this video, I guess now it's already 3 minutes. And I just want to do a follow up of the other day talking about intellectual loneliness. I'm surprised at how many people were able to relate. And also amazing that I got lots of subscribers from that video. What's really funny is that I was expecting for no one to. Oh, I got like one dislike on that video, which is kind of funny. Which is okay because everyone's entitled to their own opinions, and maybe that video upset someone, and they don't understand that I'm trying to talk through these things to understand how to speak about it in a manner that is understandable for all and hopefully doesn't offend anybody. Which is why I said in the last video, I try not to use the word stupid. Sometimes I use the word stupid and crazy just to be funny, but I don't typically use those words unless I'm trying to be funny. Yeah, I was really thinking a lot. So I did do a video after that video, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna post it because it was very convoluted. It was quite all over the place. But in the next video I recorded, I was talking about I just kind of deep dived into my experience with intellectual loneliness and just giving really specific examples. And what my plan is now is to just kind of really just really understand it a bit more. And I actually want to do an essay on this, at least 500 to 1,000 words or more, maybe 2,000 word essay on this. Because I really want to deep dive into, I just don't want to keep talking about intellectual loneliness and say, hey, I'm going through this. But I want to talk about how I thought I was going through generalized loneliness and then realized that I was, with the help of professional help, realized that it was not loneliness generalized, it was intellectual. Because I was around people. That's the thing. I don't know if I think I share, being in a room with 100 people, but I didn't share to what extent. I was regularly meeting with friends. And now I hate that word. With friends. Not that I hate the word, I'm joking, but I was on a weekly basis around people almost every day. I'll just say a lot. And it was like okay, maybe in this video, I'll just kind of go into a little bit of a little bit in the back, a little bit of a background that is not as convoluted as the last video I created, which I will not probably post. But I thought I had loneliness and I thought I felt lonely even though I was around lots of people. And I think I had posted it on Instagram or something. I just gave my experience of, hey, I feel really, it was so weird because I was around people, but I felt completely alone. I felt invisible. Another thing which I believe is very important, is I should mention that I was the only American, the only Black person, and I was very overweight. And in some culture, those are double negatives, right? Like in some cultures, they might not have had experience around someone who looks like me other than what they see on TV and the media. So there were a lot of things that went into play. And I do believe that but I don't like to do this because I feel why go to another country, be around other Americans. But I do believe if I would have created a more balanced approach and if I would have sought out more American or more people from my background, my culture to a certain extent, I think that would have alleviated a little bit of the loneliness and intellectual loneliness. Because what ends up happening too, if by the way, if you're new here, I lived overseas for years and I just got back to the US. I keep saying that. It's almost been a year. Has it been a year? It's going on a year soon. And it's not that, I mean, I did find people that I felt were on the same intellectual level, but that were locals. But a large part of it was a language barrier as well. So let me just say there were lots of barriers that contributed to loneliness in general and intellectual loneliness. Because a lot of things don't translate well, and even if you're fluent, I think that there's certain things and concepts that might be hard to communicate. Another thing is that if you're in a place where there's a lot of rejection to ideas and it's a culture that is used to conformity, that can play a big part in sexual loneliness. Because, let me see if I should say this. I'll just give an example where, one of my former good friends, it took her going back to that same country for me to be like, oh, yeah, yeah, I see what you're talking about now. Now that I'm back, I see what you're saying. The thing is, I think that, for example, I can't imagine talking about neuroscience to someone in North Korea. I don't know. We don't know what's going on in North Korea. We know that they're under a dictatorship, communism, right? They're under a communist regime or under a dictatorship. I can't imagine just talking about certain worldviews or certain concepts or ideas with someone in North Korea where perhaps their perception in life is a little bit different because they don't have access to certain information or they only have access to what is given to them. And so this where I was kind of the same thing, I guess. Like people do have access, but I think it's quite limited. Another thing is that what I've also come to realize is that knowledge and education is also hard to access without money. And I think that if you're in a country where things are not translated, let's say academic journals, X, Y, and Z are not translated in your language, if you can't access them because they're not affordable, if they're not accessible to your school because you're in a different country, I think these all play a part into making connections. I'm trying to think of the right way. I keep looking up because I'm trying to think of the best way to put this because another thing about me is that I'm someone that I try to see all sides of everything. So I try to understand others and to my demise, but I try to understand others, why they might think the way they think, why they might be the way they are. Might it be culture, background, the way they were raised, the people that they were around? That all plays a part into people's personalities, how they are, how they interact with others. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that I just believe that when you're so different, it's really hard to make connections, period. So that's not even talk about on an intellectual level, but just in general, it's hard to make connections when there's culture differences in X, Y, and Z. So you add another level, there's multiple, at least from my personal experience, there are multiple levels to it. So you had the cultural barriers, language barrier, just being different visually, which plays into the liking bias or yeah, the liking bias. So there's lots of barriers. There are lots of barriers that played into what led up to me feeling intellectual loneliness. And I mean, really, I could probably do a diagram on this if I really deep dive into it. There's layers to this. It wasn't like, oh, everyone around me is just dumb. No, I would never say that. That was never the case. It was just I was not able to make connections, period. And then even more so on an intellectual level. So I hope that gives some background. And maybe some other things. I've talked to other Black women that have traveled in X, Y, and Z. And you don't have to be a Black woman, you could be anybody. That when you travel to other places, it's really hard for you to connect with others. And I had met with someone on Zoom who she moved from the US to Belgium and she had gone through the same thing. She works in STEM and sorry, there's a plane or something flying over. What's going on? But yeah, so this woman and she works in STEM and we were just talking about how we have so many completely different countries. Her and I are from two different backgrounds. She's like up from, our family got money. I didn't come from that. I don't know if I was lower middle class or middle class, I don't know. But we have we have very different lives growing up in the US and then moving to other countries, in Europe. And when I was telling her about my experience, she was like, oh my gosh, like she realized that she was going through the same thing and she didn't have a name for it, where she thought it was just regular loneliness, but she realized later that it was also because I think I mentioned it in my last video. When you can't express yourself, when you can't find people to connect with, to have conversations with. I'll give an example. I remember I read the book Sapiens, and oh my gosh, that was a big deal for the group of people that I was around. Just because, by the way, I think it's a good idea to read about everything. I think it's a good idea to be knowledgeable in everything. If you're a Christian, I think it's good to read about what Muslims believe in. Like, why be ignorant? It doesn't mean you have to convert. It just means that you want to understand others. It means that, and I think too, you grow empathy for others when you learn to understand them and their background and their beliefs and etc. And so I mean, Sapiens is, I mean, was it number one always on Amazon? It's a highly talked about book. And I just wanted to know what was it about. And, and just some people were like, oh my gosh, why would you read that book? It's just, I just wanted to understand, what others believe in, what they think, yeah. And that goes back into the thing about conformity is that I've come to realize some places it's not okay to go outside the norm, even if it means just to become more knowledgeable, which is not their fault. Like when you study what communism has done to people and what was not allowed, it's not like people are this way just because they're that way. It's because so many years they weren't allowed access to certain things. They weren't allowed to think outside the box. You had to do X, Y, and Z. You got a certain amount of X, Y, and Z, and everybody was the same. Everyone was the same. So again, me being an understanding person, I recognize that. The thing is, you know, just going back to what I said earlier, is that I personally believe that I should have found a balance. I should have been, if I couldn't really speak with other people that were intellectuals or into the things that I was into locally, if I couldn't find that locally, if I couldn't interact with them on a regular basis, what I should have done, looking back and what I would have done differently, is make sure, as I said earlier, I had a balance. It's kind of getting cooler. I should probably I got my gloves on, but I should probably put my hat on. And yeah, so I think that I should have created a balance. So what could that have looked like? I should have maybe been a part of more online groups, perhaps. I should have maybe, for example, I think I mentioned before, I really would love to become a neuroscientist or a psychiatrist. And maybe I should have sought out groups in those fields. And even though I'm not studying formally in those fields right now, it's something that I've been studying since I was a kid, not neuroscience, but psychology. And so maybe I should have joined groups where, I don't know, people have book clubs about psychology, psychology books, or maybe I should have created my own. I've created communities before. So I would say that's just to piggyback off the video that I, and that's what I think I would do differently is that, I think the good thing through all this is that I have an understanding of what led to my intellectual loneliness. I don't blame others. I don't blame myself. I just believe that I could have done things differently. And I think once I realized I was going through intellectual loneliness, I kind of went through not denial or anything, but it was just kind of hard to grapple with that, I guess. And the thing is, what I've come to learn about life is that if people don't want to learn, they don't want to do better, be better, become more informed, there's nothing that you can do. And that's the thing is that then it becomes so weird to be in those circles and those spaces because it's you want to find connection, you want to, you know, to become friends and etc. But it becomes really hard to do that when you're just so different. And for me personally, I think the other day I said I was getting my chest was oily because I can't fake it. I think that corporate America has taught me in corporate settings how to, I don't know, how to hide your feelings, emotions, and etc. But I think on a personal level, that's so hard for me because at least work is work, right? You're only there for a couple of hours. But outside friendships, I feel, or outside, circles, if you're meeting multiple times per week, every week, it, it's just different. I feel like you should feel more relaxed. You should feel you should be able to be yourself. Otherwise, it just feels you're at work. Like you're always in a business meeting, always being politically correct and never having your guard down. That's what it actually kind of felt like for me. It just felt I was always, and as a neurodivergent person, it's like I was always having to mask, and that took a psychological toll. Oh, that could be a whole nother video actually, because it took a psychological toll because I was always masking, always, as I said before, downplaying myself, dumbing myself down to not fit in, but just be accountable. Is that the word? I just mispronounced that. I do that sometimes. To be in accord with others. But that took a toll on me because, okay, I always joke, and I shouldn't joke like this, but I do. I always say I feel like I'm losing brain cells. I think I mentioned before when people talk about things that are not important, it just makes me, I don't know. I just feel, oh my gosh, this is a waste of time. I'd rather be reading a book right now. I'd rather be alone and reading a book right now. Yeah. Anyway, just because I now I'm realizing I'm going on a tangent again. So yeah, that's how I would do different. I would do differently is that I would make sure to put myself in spaces where there was a balance. And I would be around those people less. Another thing, I would have taken more control. I don't think I should have been around people that I didn't have an intellectual connection with so often. And I won't ever go into online why I was around these folks so much because it's a whole nother thing. But I think that in me wanting to do the right thing, I was always around them. And I shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have done it to myself. Not blaming myself. I'm just saying, again, should have done things differently. I should have limited my interactions with those that I'm not aligned with in that way. And I should have immersed myself more around the right spaces. And so I think this video is kind of going on too long and it's kind of getting dark, but I want to make a plan for 20. So I actually did, and maybe if I could find the image, I made a vision board of what I wanted for 2024. Let me tell you, nothing on that board happened. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing happened on that board. I had a vision, but I don't know what happened to it. But I made a vision board, and in that vision board, I made all the different things that I wanted for my life this year after going through, I guess I'm still really kind of going through intellectual loneliness. It hasn't changed. It's still the same, except I'm not in the same environment. But I do feel much happier because I have a lot more control now over the spaces that I'm in. But yeah, so anyway, in that vision board, one of the things I put was a circle of friends that are all diverse. I have to be around diverse set of people. I don't like to be around just one culture all the time. I love to be around people from just all over, right? I don't like to only be around people that look like me. And I also don't like to be around a group of people who all look the same except for me. Is that a good way to put it? In my vision board, I put that, I wanted a diverse circle of friends, again, like I had before I moved. And I wanted these friends to all be people that were in STEM and science and were academics, historians, etc. People that value education, people that are into self-improvement, self-development, etc., productivity. And doesn't and not these people have to be in STEM or anything, but just that we have similar interests to a certain extent. I mean, I've had friends that were mechanics, but outside of their job, they read lots of books about science, and that's how we connected, right? So that was on my vision board for this year, which did not happen because this year was just nothing went right. But somehow I'm still smiling, still here, trying to be positive. I am being positive. I'm not trying, I am being positive. So maybe I'm thinking for the next video, I should do a plan for 2025 and then make a plan that's actionable of alleviating my own intellectual loneliness. I think that's probably a good idea. I think that's a good idea. I should redo that vision board. And maybe next video I'll talk about my plan. Another thing that I didn't mention, I probably mentioned this last because now I'm getting really chilly because I don't have my blanket down here with me. But what I had thought about a while ago was starting a community for neurodivergent people and a way for us all to find each other and make friendships and just have support to have people that you can find of similar interests, etc. So I actually bought the domain We Are Wired Differently. And I don't want it to be a huge, elaborate, you know, community just yet, but it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. Uh, as- oh, yeah, sorry. I'm sure I'm alone when I'm talking. But yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while now, and I've been procrastinating. I'm a true ADHD person. I've been procrastinating because I was like, I've started communities before, and it's a lot and took a toll on me. It's a lot of finance behind it that you have to put into it, and I put lots of money into it. And I'm not a money driven person. So, you know, yeah, there's lots of mistakes that I made. And so I was like, I don't want to make those same mistakes again. So I wrote a list of things that I did wrong. I was like, okay, if I start a new community, what can just be the MVP, the minimal viable product? What can just be the starter thing? So I was thinking, actually, oh, I totally forgot I did this. I haven't launched it, but I created an app for the community for We Are Wired Differently. And in the app, you can just, it's very basic onboarding. And I want everything to be very hand select. I don't want people coming in who are not nice and are racist, mean, etc. So when I start communities, I hand vet the folks that join, just make sure that it's a good, safe space for everyone. And sometimes I don't do it alone. I have other people do it with me and we research the person, etc. So that it's not anyone coming in and just, messing up things and deceiving and not creating a good space for others or ruining the space for others. What I did was I created an app where you have to go through an onboarding and just give your background, why you want to join, and then give your interest. And then in the app, it matches you with other members. And then you guys can choose from there to communicate, to meet, to just talk about whatever. And it's not STEM focused. It's just if you're neurodivergent anywhere across the spectrum. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but yeah, wherever you are on the neurodivergent realm, this place will be for you. And I really want it to be an inclusive place. And yeah, and so that's what I did. I created that app. It's actually it's a web app. It's not like an app for your iOS or Android. It's a web app. And so my initial thought was like, oh, that's a lot, to maintain an app and do all that stuff. And so I think that'll be version 2. But what I think I shared on Twitter, I said, I think a good idea would be to just starting off to version 1 for just to be a small group of people that meet on Zoom once per month. I can commit to that right now. Even if 'cause that's what happened the last community is that like every time my health would get in the way and moving and X, Y, and Z, something always got in the way. And it was very hard to maintain by myself. And I really couldn't afford a team. I just occasionally could afford a team. But again, I was paying out of pocket when I had a good paying job. And now your girls ain't got nothing. I don't have anything. So I'm thinking before I was paying for Zoom and X, Y, and Z. I think for now, what I'm thinking about is like the folks that responded on Twitter and just in other places where I mentioned this, I'm thinking about just saying, hey, and by the way, and you guys too, you also, hello, by the way, sorry, you guys too, if maybe I'll put it in the, maybe I'll, by the time this video goes up, I'll do a sign up form, just a wait list if you're interested. Because I think so far, maybe 2 people have commented on my channel that they're also are divergent. I don't remember, but I think at least one. So if you're watching this, I hope you're back and watching the video, watching this video. Yeah, so what I think I'll do is I'll just send out a wait list and maybe in January or maybe before that, I'll do a think group maybe. to see what people would if they think this is a good idea. I mean, people have responded and said they would love to have something like this because, like, there's autism speaks and all that other stuff, and uh, I don't really like what's out there for divergent people right now. And also, a lot of people may not even want to meet on camera. Maybe they want a forum. Maybe they're just fine just having a connection. You know, I can. I mean, I already wrote the the app, and it's AI based interest connection, interest connecting. So maybe one part of it will be like, okay, hey, we meet once per month just to connect, network, find other people with similar interests. Or another part of it could be like when people sign up, the app automatically shows people that have similar interests or that might find liking of each other. I can just send an email and send introductions, say, hey, both of you, are into Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff like that. You might like this. Or sorry, you might like to meet. Or hey, both of you are I'm always using manga as an example. Both of you guys are into manga. You might, hey, meet, chat, do what you want, connect. So yeah. I think I'll probably do that tonight actually. Because now it's too late to do another video. It's freezing. My legs and my toes are really cold. And it's getting really dark. And I mean, and the bears should be hibernating, but you just never know. So yeah, and right now I'm in the backyard. So I was gonna be careful. I'm always talking about the bears. I haven't even seen a bear in a very long time. In fact, the deers, I haven't really seen them either, barely, past couple weeks. The twins, Bambies. I call them Bambies, or I call them the twins or the twins. Oh, I'll probably put image of them here. I have so many videos of me speaking to the deer. Like I love them so much. It's so adorable. If you're new here, by the way, like the deer in the area love me. I'm not even joking. At one point, they were coming here in the backyard and sleeping here every few nights, every night actually. And then they got ran off every day, so they stopped coming. But I felt they were definitely here for me. I definitely, out of all the homes, they would be here. Anyway, totally different from what the rest of this video is. But anyway, now I am definitely freezing. Great chat with myself and the camera. Yeah, so this is my follow-up video to sexual loneliness. And next I'm gonna talk about my plan. And I'm gonna get myself out of this. Next year I will be saying I've had intellectual loneliness, that I'm going through. I'm gonna say I had intellectual loneliness. And next year I'll be able to say I'm healed from my intellectual loneliness. And I feel content in my connections and relationships and friendships. Yeah. But I have to make an action plan. I just can't say, hey, I'm going through this and I don't know, smart people come to me. Like I had to actually take action towards it. So yeah, I'm gonna make a plan. And maybe I'll make the plan on video or maybe I'll just make the plan and then talk to you guys about it. But that's it for now. Have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are. And thank you for watching all my videos. I don't know what happened, but after that last video, got like so many, not so many, I'm talking about it's like hundreds. So I got like, now I have like 21 subscribers. A bunch of people comment and like the videos, and I got my first dislike, but it's okay. There's probably many more to come, but I hope for many likes instead. So thank you for sticking with me, for being here, and for those of you who enjoy my ADHD commentary. And yeah, that's it. So have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are, and see you again soon. Bye.